Hi, this is Drew Tignanelli. This is our May update here with Michael P. McCarthy.
Very special month, Drew.
Oh, yeah, it's your birthday month, May
We have
6th.
a number of birthdays at the company this month.
Really? Yours is
so.
May 6th. Who else is in May?
I don't remember, but I just think there are some.
I don't remember any other May 6th.
Anyway.
My brother's born in May 16th. My sister-in-law, May 2nd. So, and I'm going to be in Maryland too. Speaking of your birthday, I'll be in Maryland for your birthday.
Absolutely.
So it'll be good. Good to see everyone. We're going to have a book event. We'll talk about that a little later. But right now, what's going on in the markets? Or the economy, lots of good things, lots of bad things. Everybody, got good news, bad news, the way the world turns always.
Yeah, I mean, we can always go back to what you've said in the past. There's always going to be somebody pounding the table that it's it's the beginning of a bull market, or the bear market is still here and it's going to continue to get worse. But really, with all the economic information out there right now, it's just hard to make an argument either direction. You've got certain things that are definitely stressors on the market. After last month's events, we're going to have a little bit of bank tightening, especially in the commercial markets, which makes the commercial real estate market a little nervous. There's a thing called the leading economic indicator, which is a combination of all of these various types of things. I mean, manufacturers, new orders, building permits, the S&P 500 index, all these things added up together, and they either create a positive or a negative number. And for 15 months in a row, it has been going down, and right now it's at a negative 4.5. But on the other side of that, when you look at those charts where you see the stock market and the leading economic indicator, whenever the leading economic indicator stops going down, the stock market starts going up. So
in other words, the market starts going up when things are looking the worst. Normally.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah. Which is a fascinating thing. People keep saying to me, there's a recession coming. There's a recession coming. Well, first off, when a recession comes, they normally acknowledge it back like it started 6 months ago, or it started 5 months ago, or something like that. So it's not like the recession starts 3 months ahead of time. Nobody really knows that. It's usually, as a matter of fact, when it's over, normally
that's when they decide it's a recession.
Yeah, when the market's finished, they decide, oh yeah, there was a recession there. So the problem is, Mike, is that too many people want to look at the economic tea leaves to read the stock market and what it's going to do. But remember, the stock market is reading the tea leaves in 2024 right now, not 23.
Thinking about the future, not in the past.
Thinking about the future. And that's why most people can't comprehend why the stock market does what it does, because it's thinking way ahead. It's not thinking in the past.
Well, a financial topic that is, covered by every media agency for the last, year or more has been inflation. And something I realized from client conversations is that a lot of people, when they hear that the CPI came out and it's this or that, they don't necessarily understand what that means. So the Consumer Price Index is announced every month, sometime after the end of the month. And this past March, which as with the time we shoot this video is the most recent, CPI was up 0.1. And a lot of people would hear that, oh, it's up 0.1, and think, oh my gosh, it keeps going up, inflation. Well, the CPI, the bigger number you hear about, the one that they were targeting to be 2%, that 2% is the combination of the rolling prior 12 months. So for instance, if this past month it went up 0.1, and if it continued to do that for 12 months, inflation would be 1.2%. So the rolling 12 months right now, we're at 5%, meaning that inflation, which we know the Fed is looking at very closely, is continuing to come down.
Yeah, there's no doubt that it's continuing to decline to some degree. And, interest rates are just too high for a lot of economic activity to take place. Supply starts to catch up with demand, and inflation starts to come down. And so we are paying attention to this. You got a couple problems with inflation. You got low labor participation, and you got a low housing inventory, and you've got oil and gas that's being controlled by a cartel around the world that is getting more and more aggressive to try to keep the price up as high as they can, because they know the end is not far into the future, right? Renewable energy is going to overtake fossil fuels sooner or later. It's just a matter of time as to when it happens, because fossil fuels are not logical long term. They are a finite commodity. You can't just keep pulling it out of the ground, and it obviously causes problems continuing to burn fossil fuels. So anyway, we'll see what happens, but we're very attentive to what's going on, and we're doing our best to try to look for things that we believe, whether we get this or that, either way, we're using a portfolio allocation that's well diversified in all different types of environments.
Yeah. Well, going from that, one of the major components of financial planning is risk management. We talk about risk management when we talk about investments. We talk about risk management when we talk about insurance. But the bush that continuously needs to be beaten is risk management around your cybersecurity and what you can do to protect yourself.
I believe the most important thing our clients can learn right now.
Yes, right now it's a big
cybersecurity
threat.
could wipe you out like that.
So we're going to talk a little bit more about that, but one of the things we wanted to announce is that beginning around May 15th, the Financial Consulate portal will begin to require two-factor authentication. And just what this means is you'll put your username and your password in, and then it's going to ask you for something additional. When you first log in to do this, you'll put in your username and password, and then it's going to say, hey, we got to set up two-factor authentication. Pick 3 security questions. So you pick those 3 questions, you put in your answers, and those are kind of a backup. Once you do that, you'll go to the next screen and it'll ask you for your cell phone number. You put in your cell phone number, and then going forward, all you'll have to do is put in your username and password. It'll text you a code, you'll put in that code, and it'll keep your portal with us that much more secure. If you don't have a cell phone, you can click I don't have a cell phone, and then it'll just ask you one of those 3 questions to log in. But given the cell phone number and getting the text is definitely the most efficient thing. Do we like putting burdens, additional steps involved to do things? No, we do not like doing that. But cybersecurity is such an issue right now, and it's definitely something that you should do for any account you can.
Yeah, there's no doubt cyber theft is becoming a incredibly serious issue. Matter of fact, a lot of criminal organizations have given up on things like drug running and guns and things of that sort, and they're just spending all their time on cyber theft because it's a multi-billion-dollar industry, and when the government catches you, they don't tend to treat you like an incredible criminal, because they say, you did some harm, but you didn't kill people, and things like that. So they're thinking, this is the best of all criminal activities we could ever do. I think the government's getting a lot tougher on cyber criminals because they're realizing that maybe they're not killing people, but they're causing immense amount of pain and suffering and causing a difficulty for the economy as a whole long term. So give them some things that they can do, Mikey.
That's where I was headed. So one of the biggest, kind of talking about most common is, first off, a cyber threat what we call a cyber threat, these fraud attempts, they can come from anywhere. It's not just from your email. They can be door to door even now. So I guess I'm stretching
Facebook and things like that. It can happen in there.
But no matter whether it's online or not online, and also be wary of text messages. Those are now a source of fraud. You need to always question whatever somebody's presenting to you. First off, if someone calls you and says, they're from BG&E or they're from your bank or they're from your mortgage company, one of the themes is going to be, it's going to be immediate. You need to do this now. If you don't do this now, something bad's going to happen to you. And then the other thing is they're going to ask you to give them information over the phone. Don't. If somebody from BG&E calls and says, hey, your payment's down, we're going to turn off your electricity, hang up and then go to BG's website or your bill and call that phone number and say, hey, am I up to date? Do you need payment information? Don't ever give it to the person who calls. Some of the other things to just, when you're looking at emails, look really, really close, really scrutinize those emails. What address did they come from? Not what it, sometimes you need to highlight over the email address to see where it come from. Look at the information in the bottom of the email string. Is this an email coming from someplace They get so good at targeting people with these emails. Drew and I get some that are amazingly well done and tailored clearly to us individually. Another thing, I think we might have talked about this in our last video, but it's very important that when you're out in public, you never use public charging stations. Always bring your own outlet plug-in thing and cord. Never use the public ones. That's a major way the FBI has been announcing people are getting a hold of information and stealing your things.
What that means, Mike, what you're saying is you don't just take your USB charger and just plop it into a charging station at an airport or something like that. You plug it into an electrical outlet.
Yep.
Because they can actually filter information onto your phone when you just put it into a charging outlet. I mean, into a charger where you just put your USB in. But when you plug it into a charging electrical outlet, it's just electricity. There's nothing else that could come through.
Yep, absolutely. So some other things we've talked about before, but have become even more important, is considering doing a credit freeze with the major credit bureaus. It's easy enough to do online. If you have any trouble, ask your advisor to help you. But additionally, check your credit regularly. Look for reports of things coming on. It seems like almost anyone who has a credit card has some source of free credit monitoring through that. And then the other thing I was going to say is certain types of fraud will only be reimbursed if they are reported within a specific window of time. Some places 60 days, some places 90 days. But it's important that at least every 30 days, probably something closer to like every 10 days, you need to be looking at your bank accounts and looking at the transactions and making sure that there's nothing
Look, you can't not reconcile your checking account and your credit card in today's world. I reconcile every credit card, every checking account, every single month. And if there's something wrong on that report, I have the ability to let them know within 30 days that something's wrong.
Yep.
But there are a lot of people that don't. I mean, how many times do I talk to people around our office that say, do you reconcile your checking account? And they're like, no, I got another way I do that. You really need to reconcile it. But I'm an accountant. I like that kind of stuff, Mikey.
Well, lastly, and this has nowhere near been exhaustive of the things you should be considering for cybersecurity, but something that we've found very valuable is a tool called a password manager. Now, unfortunately, it is true one of them did have a security issue themselves in the past year, but it's still better than not. And what these things do is they generate really long passwords that would be difficult to memorize or copy, and they randomize them and they enter them in for you. Talk to your advisor if you need more information on that. The other tool that's in there that people should start considering is called dark web monitoring. And this is a service that they go out into the dark web and they look for your information to show up in different places. And then when it does, it lets you know and says, hey, did you know your Peloton username and password is available for sale online? When you may think, well, what does that matter? Let them have their own workouts. Well, a lot of people use the same username and password somewhere else. They just might start at the major banks and say, let me try that email and that password and see if I can get in. So again, that's why two-factor authentication is a good thing, and that's why you should be extra diligent protecting your cybersecurity.
We'll probably do another webinar on this. It'd probably be a good thing for our clients to continue to learn about this.
Yep, absolutely.
We have on the docket for today.
Well, the last big thing we want to talk about, in case you missed the last couple videos, is Drew's book is out. The Financial Physical, the book, which details his story of making his way through the industry, but really identifying how the financial industry is really broken and how the whole design of the bulk of the industry is not a good fit and not the way things should be done. So we'll be, by the time this video comes back, this will be, will probably have already happened, but on May 4th of this month, we will have had the little book signing event up at Embassy Suites in Hunt Valley. We're appreciative to the clients that have RSVP'd, and hopefully by the time this comes out have come to that. And we just want to encourage folks that, you know, if you hear our message and, you know, you kind of understand what we're trying to do and what Drew's trying to say in his story, you know, we've got plenty of copies of the book at each of our office locations. We're always happy to give extra copies out in case you think of there's somebody who would benefit from hearing this knowledge. And yeah, we're excited to continue to spread the word and hopefully see the financial advisors that are currently in the minority of how they're organized slowly grow against the majority of firms, which are commission based and, you know, don't have the same structure.
So, you know, if somebody has somebody out there that they think might benefit from our services and they'd like to give them a book, we'll send them a book, right? We'll send the client a book to give to that potential prospect, but tell them what the financial consulate is looking for so that they understand that if this person calls us,
Sure,
they know that it's somebody we really can work with and be a symbiotic relationship.
absolutely. So this has become more true, especially over the past 3 years. Government regulation has increased and increased, really because of a broken financial industry. But as a result of that, you know, we do have to kind of hone in on who we work with. And one of the terms that we think really represents our client base is the millionaire next door. These are people who are looking to delegate and people who have the assets and the estates and the complexity that really can benefit from our services. So that's,
Yeah, we call it the practical millionaire. And there's somebody
yes,
who,
I'm sorry, the practical millionaire. I said the wrong term. I said the one that's trademarked.
or it's called practical millionaire, and it's somebody who doesn't look like a millionaire, doesn't act like a millionaire, but they're definitely a millionaire, and they have at least 500,000 of investable assets, or they're a business owner. Those are the type of people that we can do the best for. And if you want to get a book to send to them or give to them to introduce independent fee-only comprehensive advice, we'd love you to get a copy of the Financial Physical into their hands, and we'd be more than happy to give it to you. If you just want a book to educate, you know, a friend that you think could use the advice, you know, they can get it online at Amazon for $5.99. We priced it so that you could buy it easily without any problem, and they'll ship it for free too, right, Mike?
Yep.
$5.99. So, and you can get a Kindle version for like $2.99. That's I think we priced it 1/4 of what the average book out there sells for.
Yeah.
So,
well, the message is what's important.
The message is important, and we, you know, I really would appreciate any of you that would help to get the message out to the public, because this industry needs to change. It is. There's a tipping point taking place. 20 years ago, Mike, I don't think more than 2% of the industry was fee-only and independent. Today, it's probably 8%. But that's still an amazing number. 8% out of 100, 92% or 90% is still seriously sales-oriented. Anyway, I think we're out of time.
I think so.
And I'll be up there next week with you in Maryland.
Except for it'll be last week. Actually, it'll be this week.
It'll be next week when, you know, for me, while we're recording this today. But nonetheless, I'll be there. You'll
Sounds
feel
good.
my
Looking forward to
presence
seeing you.
in Maryland next week when you get this video. Anyway, this is Drew Tignanelli saying God bless.